Hey, two's Farmall 51 here. All right, I'm filming with my phone today. I don't usually film with my phone. I usually just take pictures and shorts and stuff like that with it, but I'm gonna use it today. I didn't really intend on making a video today. And as you see, I got a mess here on the floor. And if you don't know what these are what they call trip boxes, trip beams. I think there was another term internationally used for it that really didn't make sense to me, but in fact, that's what me and Bill were talking about the other day. They had a term for them, and I'll see if I can find that, and I'll put it in there, but it really, to me, didn't really have anything to do with these parts here. So anyway, what I'm doing here is I am rebuilding or transferring some parts, cleaning up this one here. I'll show you the hole right here. This is where the shank here, and I apologize for the lighting, but a couple of my lights have gone out in the shop here, but where that hole is that I just pointed to, pin goes right through a 1-inch bolt, funny looking bolt, which I've got to get one of those. But this is, these 3 bolts here, or 3 holes here, is where that one up here, here, and down here go to. This where that shank will sit in there. Let's see, will sit right down in there like that. And let's see, these 2 holes here is where your landslide would fit, and then of course your mold board would fit right here. And what I've done, I had to get, this is for the 420 plow, so I had to get actually 2 frogs. These are called frogs, or what I call frogs. Bill calls what he calls them. And then, like I say, I cleaned that up since I'm replacing all the bolts and everything, and I went ahead and cleaned this up and kind of smoothed this back out in places. But this was in here, and the problem we were having is these bolts, somebody tried to change it at some time. You can see by the discoloration about from here up in the paint that somebody used a torch on it. And this hole here is hard to tell, but it is wallowed out. And I've got a little bit of a short clip I'll insert now. And in this clip, you can see how that plow was rocking back and forth, and it was a good inch and a half of play in it, and it was right here. So obviously, sometime or another, whoever had this plow let the, of course, I showed you the shares on there where they had wore them out and wore the frog into, wore the bolt holes off the frog. But obviously, they had some issue up here to where this was wallowed out. It's egg-shaped. And so, you know, you can't have that plowing. So, and then the other thing, which I didn't notice it when I bought it, is you can see, like I said before, you can see where the discoloration right here, where they put a torch to it. It's a little bit of gouge right there. I have to grind that off. Well, this is not any good. But they took and they cut both sides off, and they tried to knock the pin out. And that was nearly impossible because that thing was froze in there. I had to take a Sawzall and go on the inside, where there was a little bit of a gap, go on the inside, on each side, and cut that pin through because it was flush with this hole. So I got it out, and I took the press over here in the shop and pressed that pin out, and it sounded like a shotgun going off when that thing popped out. But anyway, I got it out. So Mr. Bill was gracious enough to get me a new, what I call trip box here. I've taken all the parts out. This one over here, as you can see, the little springs in here. There's springs laying here like this. Basically, I've set this up just about how it is in the inside there. And these are this is your main, I guess, your main spring. And these here, the little leaf springs. And then, like I said, that mounts up through the top. And that's what gives you your tension. And you can set that. As you can see here, S is where you set the load, and the factory load is around 3,100 pounds. Slacking off the lock nut S there, this illustration 7A would increase the tripping load to a minimum value of approximately 2,800 pounds when the helper spring T are loose and the mainspring U alone is restraining the trip beam. By tightening the lock nut 2 revolutions, the tripping action is increased to a maximum value of around 3,900 pounds. When that thing trips, basically, let's see, this pin here inside will ride about right there. And when you hit something hard enough, this here will roll down and this here will trip forward that way. And you can set the tension on these a little more aggressive than others, depending on your soil or how much you want it to trip. Completely disassembled it, cleaned all the rust off for the most part, good enough. And Bill told me, he says, you don't want to paint these, put any grease on them or anything. I've got them cleaned up. But anyway, I'm getting ready to put all these back in, and I don't have my tripod set up, so I'll turn the camera back on as we go and kind of fill you in as we reassemble this. All right, I've got my leaf springs. I'm gonna go ahead and put them in. Like I say, it's just a bolt right there that's got a little tab there on the bottom. If I can get it worked out with one hand here, as you can see. And then all those little leaf springs are laid in there. And then this piece here runs along the top up there. Like I said, it'll go up through that hole, that top hole there. And like I say, Bill said to keep them clean. Don't paint them. Don't put nothing on them. I'm not sure if that would hurt it much, but if you did paint them, but I'm guessing it would make them stick together. But like I say, all this is supposed to move freely in there and be able to trip if you have. I may put some WD-40 in there just to keep them from rusting in between before I put them together. But like I say, you don't want anything hindering that from tripping like it's supposed to. All right. Let's see. I've got that. I may torque it down some more there, but there's your spacer, your little leaf springs, your nut, and your locking nut. And like I say, you can adjust that and ever how much tension you want to put on it, I think. And this right here, the main plow beam will run along there. But you can see the leaf springs in there past my thumb there. Now we're going to put the mainspring in there next. And like I say, it'll run with a pin right there. And put the leaf, I gotta look through the phone here. Put the mainspring on the inside, and this little window right here, you'll have to push this up with like a punch there. All right, what I'm gonna do is now this is the main spring that will go on the inside. What I've had to do before, right through here, you'd have to put a punch in there to pick that up enough to where you can get this pin right here through. Like I said, it'll have 2 washers on it and another roll pin that'll go through there. And I'm gonna go ahead and put this in with this pin here on the inside though. All right, as you can see, I got my main spring in there, and like I say, you can barely see it in there, and it's got quite a bit of tension on it. Like I say, I'll have to drive my punch in here. You can see there's the back of the main spring. There's the flat head of the pin. And like I say, I'm sorry about the camera work here, but you can move it. I've got to get me a better setup for camera, but you can see the pin in there. Now what I'm gonna do is see if I can get this pin in here and get my roll pin on the other side there, and that pretty much will be rebuilt. Not really rebuilt, but I don't believe you can get any of these parts from Case IH anymore. I'm not sure. Bill said a lot of this stuff was getting pretty hard to find, new old stock, but as far as finding any of the replacement parts, you've got to take apart another plow, which that's what this bottom here was. So, all right, we'll go ahead and put the pin in. All right, you see that I've got my little claw punch thing or whatever. Here, let's see. I'm gonna take my pin here, and you've got to get that spring pushed back far enough. And you see here, I'm going on the inside. Get that pin through there. Oh, dummy me, forgot to put the. Okay. Let's see, we get that push through there. And I'm sorry if I'm not using terminology of, I don't have my book with me. I can't remember what this was called exactly. I hear Bill talk about it, and I hear other people with their terms. No, y'all probably think I'm pretty cheap, but using this old washer, but it's still pretty thick. If I can get into focus here. It's still a pretty good washer, so ain't nothing wrong with it. I'm not restoring this plow yet that I know of, but now I'll take my roll pin. And yeah, I'm cheap. I'm using another roll pin, but this here is a pretty new looking roll pin. Well, not in bad shape. It's still got a lot of spring to it. Like I say, it took me forever to get the thing drove out of there, but I'm gonna reuse that just because I'm cheap. All right, when you drive this roll pin, into this pin, you kind of gotta, I found it's pretty useful to take this punch and run along the backside here to kind of keep that from moving. Otherwise, it's gonna roll on unless you put a pair of vice grips on it. But anyway, I got that. There's very good tension on that there. And I forgot, I don't know exactly how much you need to put on it. I've got a book at the house, and I'll look at that and see what you're supposed to do. But there it is, hooked in there. You see that lip like we were talking about before. Let's see, here's the old one. You can see there, just enough on there. Like I say, when that thing trips, this pin will slide forward, and you see it's like a egg-shaped or funny looking hole there. It's just enough for it to slide forward and let that beam trip if you were to hit an obstruction. So, but anyway, I know this is not a very good video on rebuilding or reassembling a international trip beam on a 420 plow, but it is what it is. So there's some of the parts. In fact, this is a very common thing here. This here is the pin that goes in there, and that is what's sitting just like this right here. And then you've got that. Then you've got your, like I say, your leaf springs that are in there like that. And there's 3 or 4 of them. And then you've got this on the top that rides along right there. So other than that, and this is a typical, they have a tendency to break in there, and you can see this one's got some pretty bad pit rust on it. So once again, this is not a how-to video, but just merely showing you what I did to put it back together. They're not that complicated. Like I was, I've always been I've never really tore into one before, and but I've watched Bill enough, and Bill's very knowledgeable, very good help on putting this stuff together. Anything with a plow, the man knows more than anybody I've ever met in my life. So he would have been one heck of a test engineer or engineer for International Harvester, I must say. But anyway, that's it. And thanks for watching. Like I say, not much of a how-to video, but not really a how-to video. I don't like to do that, but I am going to prime this on the outside, get this all set up. And I know, you think I'm crazy for painting it, but since it's been gone through, I want to kind of clean it up a little bit. We'll reassemble the plow here pretty soon, not today, but later on, and we'll get this beam back up under there, and so we can have it at the plow day in Fremont here coming up in a couple days. So anyway, thanks for watching, and be sure to check out the 1941 Farmall M video. And if you're not subscribed to Red Power Magazine, go ahead and get your subscription in today. Look here on the whichever, I don't know which side it is. There's the website and address, and go ahead and call. You can do it online. Like I say, write a couple articles in there if you care to read those. It's a great magazine if you like International Harvester. Anyway, thanks for watching.